Got my fall threads on, got my vest. It's kind of chilly out today. Trying to embrace the fall. Pumpkin spice lattes and all. Hey, that rhymed. So, hey guys, like, I can tell by my outfit, trying to embrace the fall. It's getting cooler outside, so you know what that means. The fish are moving, the fish are in transition, and it's time to capitalize on this fall transition and catch some bass. Let's talk about it coming up. So, it's fall time, and you know what that means? Fish are going to be moving. Things are changing. So, if you're not changing, you're behind. When we're talking about the fall transition, like, I love to stream fish, so streams, lakes, one thing to remember is that things are changing. Just because you catch them somewhere this week, next week might be a whole new deal. The fish are going to follow those bait fish and that forage, and they are moving and they are getting ready for winter. And part of that is they're going to eat. They're going to eat. You know, guys, like if you are fishing and you're trying to catch them in those summer spots and all of a sudden they're gone, you know you need a change. So the first part is finding the bait fish, which is going to lead you to the fish. So when we get to this time of year on a lake, they're going to start moving into the back of those pockets, following those shad as those shad feed up. If you are in a stream, like, you're going to start looking different places. Like if you've been catching them in deeper holes, they might move up a little bit more shallow. They might go from the top of the pool down to the bottom or to the middle. And a lot of it depends on the water and what the water's doing. If the water's rising, a lot of times those fish are going to be up towards the top of the pool. And if the water's falling, they might be down towards the back. And it's all about where you fish in those eddies and try to find those fish. Because ultimately, especially in the wintertime in a stream environment, you got to think the metabolism of that fish it's a cold-blooded animal. So it's trying to get in a place where it can hunker down. If you've ever seen like a flooded river, you see the top of that water and it's just zooming and it's just going. Those fish will get down deep in the middle of that current and tuck behind something where they can be protected. So they look for those spots, and that's where they start to transition to as we move into the winter time. So talking about that, like, you just need to make sure that you're moving. You got to find the fish. Once you find the fish, like, the baits that they're going to hit on as we get more into winter are going to change. Obviously, like, if you all have a confidence bait, like, you want to keep that. But you know, like, a lot of times in the fall, we're getting some more like bigger shad, so you might use like a little bit bigger of a crankbait, maybe like a fluke style bait. But those fish are going to be feeding up, and so like this is a great time to catch a good bag of fish. But it can be also extremely difficult because a lot of people get stuck in their head and they get stuck in that summertime mode. So let's talk a little bit about safety. So as we get into the fall and we get closer to wintertime, you've got to be thinking about your safety. If you're in a kayak and you're on a stream, you have a change of clothes, a way to heat up, possibly a way to start a fire. You need to take somebody with you is the best thing, or let somebody know where you're going. If you're on a lake and you're in a kayak, I always try to stay as close to the bank as possible within reason. And a lot of that's based on your comfort, how comfortable you are on your particular kayak. If you have a new kayak and you're not really used to it, you want to be especially careful. That initial and secondary stability can be hard to figure it out, and the last thing you want to do is be trying to figure it out when the water is extremely cold and hypothermia can set in. You want to use the best gear that you can. Obviously, like, if you can afford a dry suit, get a dry suit. But for a lot of people, a nice pair of waders with a dry top can really get you by for the winter time when it comes to, especially the kayak fishing. But you got to stay safe out there, because You want to come home at the end of the day and be able to go fishing tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. So when it comes to lures, like I really like to fish a bunch of different things, and like the big thing is change it up. A Rapala Shad Wrap is amazing towards the end of the fall, beginning of winter. I love that bait. A lipless crankbait can be awesome too, like a red-eye shad or the original rattle trap can be awesome this time of year. Those fish are feeding up on those shad and they're moving. A big chunky jig, and you can use a football headed jig if you're fishing around a lot of rock cover, and fish that with a nice chunky trailer. Don't forget that top water bite. A top water bite can still be hot in the fall. I love a square bill. Square bill is always great, especially in the early to mid fall. As it gets colder, the fish are going to probably come off that. And one of the classics for people is that wiggle wart. That's what I was thinking of. Wiggle warts. People love wiggle warts. That's early spring, late fall. Those things can really trigger bites also. Soft plastics, you can use flukes, you can use tubes, you can use creature baits. I like a lot of times to just dead stick a fluke. That's awesome in streams and lakes, because as we get, like especially we get towards the end, like some of these shad are going to die off as it starts to get cold, some of those older shad. So it's a great opportunity to get out and fish, but just make sure if you guys do get out and fish that you all are safe. Do your best to try to be as safe as possible, but it's a great time to get on the water. This late fall, like a lot of people go hunting, a lot of people are home watching football. The lake can be kind of empty, and it can be a awesome place to go catch some big old bass and not have a bunch of company out there. So I really appreciate you guys watching. If you guys have any tips on how you fish in the fall, please leave that in the comments below. And my question of the day is going to be, what is your favorite fall bait? Let's put that down in the comments too. If you like this video, please like it. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.